class, we went over the rotated conics. Today, we're just going to kind of clean it up and finish this lesson. Very short. Once it loads, having issues. My last page is not loading. There we go. So the first thing that I screenshotted from the book is invariance under rotation. So invariance would be things that do not vary when we rotate. So from the first equation where we've got the ax squared plus bx, et cetera, to the second equation where we go into the primes, there are 3 rotation invariants, meaning this stuff does not change between the first equation to the second equation. The f and the f prime do not change. The a plus c value is the exact same as a prime plus c prime. And b squared minus 4ac is exactly the same as b prime squared minus 4a prime c prime. Does that sound familiar? B squared minus 4ac? You ever heard of that?
Isn't that in like the formula that we just put on?
It is in the quadratic formula. Do you know what it's called? The discriminant. Very good. Also, it's written on here. If you go a little bit further down, it is written right here. But so we can actually classify a conic by its discriminant. So if you do b squared minus 4ac and the answer is less than 0, it could be an ellipse or a circle. If you do b squared minus 4ac and it's equal to 0, parabola. B squared minus 4ac and it's greater than 0, hyperbola. The problem is if you have a degenerate equation, you might think it's something else. Like you might think it's a hyperbola when it's really just 2 lines crossing. So that's the only tiny little problem. And I was reading about degenerates. There's not a lot in our book about it, so I was Googling. And, oh, I hopefully left it open. I like copied something. Yeah. So, oh, wait, I pasted it so it was bigger. One moment. I keep forgetting I did things that make life helpful. How can you tell by just looking at it if it's a degenerate conic? You can't. Is what it says. But when you do take it and you make it into like the final form, if there is no x squared or y squared terms, then it would be a line. Or if you have like a circle, but it equals 0, like when you take it and put it in that new form, if you end up getting a circle, but it equals 0, then you would know that it's degenerate at that point. So you can't really just look at the equation to start, but there's some hints there. Now that we have conic P, though, you can look at the equation to tell. All right, so the last section is, I want you guys to try this. I want you to classify the conic first, and then use conic P to graph it, okay? Classify the conic and then use conic P to graph it. Philip, what are we going to have on question A? What kind of conic? You didn't do that part yet? Classify the conic by using the discriminant. Eden, what kind of conic will we have for question A? It's in our notes, right here. Is it less than 0? Is it equal to 0? Or is it greater than 0? I got -7. So what is it? So which conic is it? Or an ellipse, circle or an ellipse. I see somebody's hand up. Hold on one second. Oh, was the hand to answer the question? Patrick, what kind of conic is B?
Sure. B, I'm doing it right now. Parabola.
B is a parabola because it equals 0. Jack, what kind of conic is C?
Hyperbola.
What'd you get for your B squared minus 4AC for your discriminant, Jack?
60.
I didn't quite hear you because somebody like made noise. What did you say?
60.
Oh, 16, yeah. So then you guys should be able to graph each of these using conic P. I am here to troubleshoot your calculator problems.
I just have a question. What if it says like on a homework just to use the graphing utility? Is that us just like practicing, or do we need to like write it down?
You don't.
Okay.
But I believe for the homework I asked you to do B squared minus 4AC for more of them. I think I wrote for all of them. So that you could write down on the paper. So are we able to write the equation by just using conic P?
Yeah.
Did you try it?
Well, you have the data and you have the letters.
Do we even need theta to write it down?
Oh, yes.
I mean, so I just typed in A unless I typed something in wrong, which is always a possibility. I don't know what's going on my. What the heck is happening? Okay. Somebody just sent me a million pictures and each one like dinged. Okay. Now I got stuck. Okay. Plus 7/2 squared. What's wrong? Did I type it in wrong or did you type it in?
No, you're right.
Oh, I'm right. Okay. Well, because it could be me. I don't know. Wait, that's just square root 2. That's not square root 2 over 2. I'm guessing this is what it would be, and then I'd probably multiply everything by 2. No, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd need to. Okay, so this is what it would give you. And if I get this, if the directions are to put this into standard graphing form, this would not be standard graphing form. We know that this one was number 1. It's an ellipse. How would I take something that is multiplied out all the way and put it into standard graphing form? We would have to complete the square from here. But that saved me all that time of plugging in the x and the y and forgetting a negative sign and having to start over or figure out where my mistake was. Okay, so that saves you a lot of tedious algebra if we can get the equation from there. Another thing that I noticed when I typed it in is I got d values of negative 1.414. I just happen to recognize that as square root 2. If you get one that you don't recognize, that might not help. Right? Okay. Anybody have other questions? Because I'm going to turn off the notes. Okay, so that's it for now.